Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
To Write That Down Wednesday, the only show in America.
Write this down.
This and the OG edition on Minnesota Sports with Mackie and Judd.
Write it down. You like writing things down.
That has the stones enough to put predictions next to statistics and associate how bad we are at making the predictions.
That's right.
So
That's right.
we will get into the accountability session. We'll get into all of our predictions for the week here. But let's first go to Quick Trip. Let's start our day off the right way here, Judd.
I love this idea. I love it because you know what? Because you know what we need in the morning time like this as we record this is convenience. And Quick Trip brings you the ultimate convenience that could be filling up the gas tank or stopping in the store. I mean, look, if you're watching this right now, all these options, the delicious Karuba coffee before just, everything that you could possibly want. You're saying, Judd, are you showing me a Quick Trip or are you showing me a grocery store? And I'm going to tell you, I'm showing you the best of all worlds because Quick Trip has everything convenient, great service. And let's just say that you don't want to go inside and save time. Just put the app on your phone while you're filling up the tank. They will bring you your groceries. It doesn't get any better than Quick Trip. If I was to do convenience store rankings 1 through 10, it's all the same. It's Quick Trip.
Is this heaven? No. It's Quick Trip.
It's Quick Trip, exactly right.
Also, we got word that yesterday you guys have already helped us raise a couple $1,000s and on the way to even more. And when you include the Nutrisource match, I think we're up over $4,000 raised for a great cause here. Give to the Max Week. And we at Purple Daily and all across our Score North podcast are putting our support behind the Bond Between, which is formerly Secondhand Hounds. They've rescued over 30,000 dogs and cats over the last 15 years, thanks largely to your donations and your support. So let's rescue some dogs. We are all very much dog lovers on this show, and some cats. Let's rescue some animals that need it. ScoreNorth.com/donate. If you have $5, if you have $50 or something more, we would be grateful if you went to ScoreNorth.com/donate to help us save and rescue some animals. So, all right, here's how it works every single week on Write That Down. 3 Vikings or football-related predictions from everybody on the show. They must be quantifiable in some form. We keep track of completion percentage and touchdowns. And then if you want to be a guest listener participant like Clara is about to be, you can send Declan a message through the Score North app, and we will get you scheduled for some time in the coming weeks. The season runs Super Bowl to Super Bowl. So we're definitely fourth quarter here in the Write That Down season. We got a couple more months left of regular season and then playoff stretch. So buckle up.
And the storyline remains not the percentages. It remains Phil Mackey's lack of touchdown passes, which is calling into question where his career is at right now. Like this is late Peyton.
It's like Aaron Rodgers 2024.
This is a shock. A man who always has driven the ball downfield into the end zone is suddenly, let's just say, losing his edge.
I'm still trying to throw the ball down the field.
That's what I'm worried about.
Connecting on any
Peyton Manning.
Certainly haven't. Yeah, I'm fluttering the ball.
The ball is like, it's fluttering down the field.
The wind is impacting my throws more than ever. So yeah, I mean, it's been a struggle. 2 touchdowns. It's my worst season in the history in terms of touchdowns, anyways. So we're gonna try and rectify that this week.
He just bombs.
Let's start with Judd's accountability here.
Ouch!
It's a lot of red. Stop. You said the Vikings will score points on their opening drive against the Titans. I don't want to blow your eardrums out here, so let's.
We're good. And were they not matriculating down the field with ease until the pitch went awry?
Where was that pit? Was that was on the other side of the 50, right?
That was plus territory, gentlemen.
It was like just past midfield.
Plus territory, Declan.
Plus territory. You said the Vikings defense will intercept at least 2 passes against the Titans.
The Harrison Smith drop in the inability to pick off that one in the first half comes back to bite Sports Dad right in the hiney.
Harrison Smith, is he washed? My column. He's definitely not washed. The Vikings will obtain I should have taken this off the board a couple weeks ago, but you said the Vikings will obtain a defensive tackle or a cornerback before the trade deadline with more than 25 games of NFL experience. They did not. And then this one, so Rashee Rice is out for the season. You said Rashee Rice will be suspended for 2 or more games for the upcoming season, which is this season.
Yeah.
And because of the injury, it looks like the whole timeline is going to be shoved into 2025.
That's just bad luck. That's not my fault. That's not my fault. That's the equivalent of if I had gotten proper protection from the offensive line, I would have gotten this point.
Today.
Yeah.
You also could have
Damn
just
right.
stopped the prediction after 2 or more games. It's for the upcoming season.
Yeah, but if the defense had done their job.
I feel like you were a little reckless on this prediction. You got a little loosey-goosey with the terminology
Scrambled
here
out of
and
the
left
pocket
yourself.
when you should have just thrown it away.
Did I drop the ball?
You were
Did I get hit
tiptoeing
from
along the
blind side?
sideline and got smoked, and you're like, well, it should have been a flag. Well, you're still in bounds.
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah. Get out of the way.
But you did say the Bills would beat the Chiefs, so you got that going for you.
Thanks.
Yep. Okay. Not a great week for me. We'll start with the bad. I said Sam Darnold will hit at least 2 completions of 40 or more yards against the Titans. I was feeling good after that Jordan Addison. I just need one more. He hit a 31-yarder to Jefferson, but
Ouch.
only the one. So the Vikings would beat the Titans by 17 or more points. I mean, if one of 2 things happens, if Jalen Naylor just catches a pass, or if they don't allow a 98-yard touchdown.
Well,
excuses.
Both of your first 2 come true if that ball's not dropped. Right?
Yep.
Because that pass was.
That's true. It was a
midfield.
46-yard touchdown pass.
Yep.
Jalen Naylor costing me
Jalen Naylor.
probably 2 touchdowns here.
Totally
actually.
washed. My next column.
Yeah. Parlay here. I had a preseason over-under parlay. Cowboys under 10.5, which is going to hit. Chargers over 8.5, which is going to hit. But then I included the Jaguars over 8.5, which I think mathematically, are they 2-8? Actually, if they run the table, I might still have a shot here. But probably just take that off. It's probably not going to happen. I did say Dalton Reisner would start a game for the Vikings sometime before Week 12.
Ooh,
Buzzer beater, Week 11.
Wow.
Let's go.
Thank you, Kevin O'Connell.
That's right. Okay, listeners.
Oh, boy.
A lot of red here.
Yeah,
Seth said Declan will make a John Parker Romo prediction last week on the show last week. You did not. Did you think about it?
I don't think so. I usually have my scripted plays going in to write that down. Sometimes there's an audible at the line. But no, there was no Parker Romo, predictions that involved this one.
You can call him John Parker.
Yeah. That's true. JPR.
Seth also said the Gangster would force a turnover against the Titans. So like an interception, forced fumble recovery. He wreaked havoc, but he wasn't involved in a turnover. Jordan said the Vikings would beat the Titans by 10-plus points. I think Jordan was going to this game, if I remember right.
Yep.
But then Justin Jefferson will have at least 100 yards, and Aaron Jones would score a touchdown. Jefferson, 80-some yards in that game. Cam Akers scored a touchdown. And then Rich had this parlay. Vikings would end up 7-10, which is now mathematically impossible. And they would pick in the top 12 and draft either Deion Walker, Mason Graham, or Michael Williams. Deion Walker is that dude from Kentucky that Thor was salivating over like 2 weeks ago.
For good reason.
Mm-hmm. But Andrew redeemed it a little bit for the listeners by saying Dalton Reisner would appear in a game at a different position than left guard at some point in 2024.
Solid knock right there.
Okay, the Dexter. Sam Darnold will not throw an interception or fumble against the Titans.
Yeah, speaking of, if you just said a pick, you would be fine.
He was credited officially with that fumble.
Yeah, because there's no possession by Jones because he never even came close to getting possession.
So you could literally throw a perfect pitch, which it wasn't. It wasn't. But if you throw a perfect pitch and it bounces off the middle of his numbers,
that's not his fumble then.
It would be Sam Darnold.
So like the Ty Chandler one, that's on Darnold as well. If you guys recall, the most egregious one that I can recall is the 2009 NFC title game when the Vikings recovered that muffed punt by the Saints and were about to go in for a score and fumbled it, and Peterson fumbled. That fumble is charged to Brett Favre.
Yeah.
because he never secured the ball into the breadbasket.
Yeah, we think of that game as like Peterson fumbled 3 times.
He didn't.
And he was involved in 3 fumbles.
And
but
he did to us, but Favre gets charged with that because if the exchange is not perfect, it's on the quarterback.
yeah.
Oh, God.
You said Aaron Jones will have a season high in rushing yards against the Titans. You said Justin Jefferson would record at least 1 touchdown against the Titans. But
for everybody.
Yeah, but you did say the Vikings would win at least 3 of their next 4 games, starting with that Colts game, and they did.
Very nice.
Just buzzing through that mediocre division. So 2024 stats: Declan sitting at 40.5% completions, Judd 33.7. I'm at 30.5. Listeners at 28.5. Listeners with 10 touchdowns leads the league. Dex and Judd with 9 touchdowns apiece, and I'm still sitting at 2 touchdowns per Judd's correct commentary. Career stats going back to 2021, Declan 37%, Judd just under 35%. I'm at 32.7, listeners at 23.3. Declan leads everyone with 50 career touchdown passes. So those are the statistics, the accountabilities. Let's get Clara in here on Write That Down, making your debut, right, on Write That Down.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Welcome in.
Thank you, guys.
Give us your background as a Vikings fan. When did you start?
Sure. So I am a little bit newer than you guys or a lot of the listeners. But being a Vermonter, I do get this question a lot. And I love to share it. So I'll keep it brief. In 2013, 2014, I was bartending at a sports bar on Sundays during football. And I really loved the camaraderie of, everybody in the room. So I decided I was going to go and pick a football team. I didn't want to go with the Pats like everybody else. And even though that was kind of still the Patriots' heyday, I decided to mix it up. I had 3 teams that I was choosing between and ultimately landed on the Vikings.
Yeah.
It wasn't just because of purple and gold are my favorite colors. It was really because that year we had an infamous kicker who you might know, Blair Walsh. We also share a last name. So that year I got a jersey with my last name on it, and number 3 is my favorite number. So unfortunately, Blair Walsh is kind of who decided the team for me. I know, and it's been.
Hold on, we've had guest predictors on for going back probably 10 years if you include the radio version. And we've asked every one of them, how did you become a Minnesota sports fan, or how did you become a Vikings fan on Purple Daily?
Yeah.
And when people bring up names, it's like Randy Moss or Adrian Peterson or Fran Tarkenton. I believe you are the first person to ever say that Blair Walsh played a key role in hooking you into Vikings football, which is amazing.
I know, and unfortunately, we all know what happened. And but I've been a diehard fan ever since. So if Blair Walsh can do that for the franchise, then.
Wow.
So was there ever a point when he missed the kick against Seattle or the following year when he couldn't hit a field goal where you gave it a second thought? Like, did I really pick the right team?
No,
Okay.
I definitely put the jersey away. But
Yeah.
You're like,
It's actually kind of like that jersey now kind of falls into the funny, ironic jersey bin. And if you were to ever like wear that to a Vikings game at US Bank Stadium someday, I think people would think it's awesome now. Enough time has passed where I know that there's still some Blair Walsh scars, but enough time has passed to where. Do you still have the jersey?
Oh yeah, it's on the wall.
Okay. Yeah,
nice.
you should keep it, I feel like. Yeah, that's amazing. So, well, let's get into the predictions here. Clara, you're going to go first, and then Judd, Declan, back around to me. We'll make 3 trips around the room. The predictions have to be either football or show-related and quantifiable. Otherwise, those are pretty much the only rules here. So, yeah, fire away.
Write this down.
All right. So I know Declan is also a huge fan of number 45, as I am, for similar and different reasons, I think. But write this down. Andrew Van Ginkel will be a Pro Bowl nominee in 2025.
Yeah. He should. Yeah, it would be robbery, I feel like, if the gangster wasn't flying around, that gold hair flying around. And it's not. It's because it'd be the Pro Bowl games, I guess. I don't know what game, what
Golf.
he would golf
Frisbee
or something.
golf
Yeah.
now.
He looks like a guy that'd be killing at frisbee golf. He looks like a frisbee golfer,
does.
100%.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
Write this down.
All right, Judd.
All right, the Vikings will have 4 or more sacks on Sunday against the Bears. And just for context, the Bears have allowed 41 sacks, which is second most in the entire league to the Browns, who have allowed 46. So I think they'll get 4 or more sacks. I want to say they had 5 against the Titans.
Okay. Yeah, the Bears, I was a little nervous, like, oh, they fire their offensive coordinator. Now they're going to get a spark for like a month. And then the way that game ended against the Packers, I think it just, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like it eliminated all spark and excitement for.
Their coach is awful.
He is. He's.
Write this down.
It's a rough go. Dex.
All right, I think I have made this prediction. This may be the third time I'm making this in this season for Purple Daily. Write that down, but I am trying to will it to existence. Write this down. TJ Hockenson catches a touchdown against the Bears. We're still waiting for that touchdown, right? Still has no touchdowns on the season. It comes this weekend in Chicago in the Windy City. TJ Hockenson catches a touchdown. For God's sakes, please. I want the point here. I've tried 3 times. Come on, TJ. Let's go.
It's just a simple point, too.
Yeah. Just
going back to the well. All right.
Write this down.
Yep.
Write this down. Matt Eberflus will be fired the week after a Vikings-Bears game. This year, I should say.
So in season.
So he will either be fired. And the Bears apparently don't traditionally fire coaches in season. Like, even if they know, Mark Trestman's probably not, John Fox probably not going to stick around. I'd have to verify this, but people in Chicago media are saying how rare it would be if they fired Eberflus in season. I think it's gotten so bad and toxic, and they've already fired the offensive coordinator. So I will say that the Vikings are going to get him fired either next week or after they play later on at US Bank Stadium. Write it down. Okay.
Write this down.
All right, back to Clara.
All right. So Mackie, mine is really similar to yours. I can say it, but mine's kind of a 2-parter. Or I can do a different one. It doesn't matter.
No, as long as you have a tweak to it, we're good.
I do. Okay, so I also think that Matt Eberflus will be fired. I said by the end of the season, but only to be replaced by the Lions offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson. I think last year he was kind of sniffing around that role. I think we all thought that the Bears were going to make a change, and they didn't. So write this down. Ben Johnson might have that opportunity.
Yeah. That
makes a lot of sense.
A great hire, it feels like.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is the quarterback. The only bad thing is the Bears. So, you're working they're not exactly the most consistent organization, but the Caleb factor might be too strong. That would be a heck of a guy to work with, because I do think he's really good.
Yeah.
I just think it's the Bears, and they don't handle things right.
There also seems to be, and they've made some bad head coaching hires, but there's just something about that organization. They can never get offense fully right. If you look, it is hilarious. If you look at their history, even when they were really good in the 80s, it was defense, right? But if you look at their history, and they have on their Pro Football Reference page, you can just line up all these seasons. It shows you every single year for every franchise where they ranked in scoring offense and yardage offense. So in yardage offense, the last time they had a top 5 yardage offense was 1977 in Chicago. 1977.
With Walter Payton, too.
Yeah, peak prime Payton, Walter Payton.
Yeah, because their QBs in the 70s were a hot mess.
They were a top 5 scoring offense in 1985, but that includes defensive touchdowns and field position. So that defense, I don't know how many touchdowns that defense scored in 85, but it was more than 0. And they would flip field position. So the only other time they had 2 top 5 offenses in scoring in 2013 and 2006, but those were also here's a great defense that's giving you a short field at the 20.
Right.
1977. It's wild.
Write this down.
Okay, Judd.
All right, write this down. So the Jets thing, shockingly, is a complete mess. The GM is gone, fired yesterday. The coach was fired like a month and a half ago, and now we hear that Woody Johnson, who owns the team, wanted Aaron Rodgers benched at some point, and that they said, well, we really can't. But ain't no way Aaron's back with the Jets. This whole thing has gone sideways. So I was thinking to myself, where's Aaron going to land? And by the way, I don't think it's here.
Thank God.
So
Is that worth a 5-minute conversation? Because
No.
we used to do like hours
well,
of that
yeah, but
conversation
that was before you
5
had
years
your
ago.
quarterback of the future, and plus he's so toxic. I mean, there's no way O'Connell would tolerate that toxicity. But anyway, so here's what I thought. You know what? Aaron Rodgers doesn't really want to move around. Probably could go next door. Literally, Giants are a hot mess too. Write this down. Aaron Rodgers, quarterback for the New York Giants next season.
Wow.
Plus, it would be
Write this
a
down.
in your face if it works.
Stay in the same building.
He's not going to
Stick it
retire.
to he's very vindictive.
He's very vindictive. The Vikings, which probably were a great option at one time, and in his twisted little mind, are now out. Aaron Rodgers.
You know, if you were to ask him to rank, here's the exercise, because I agree with you. I think there was a time, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and there's some predictions on the board from the old radio version of Write That Down.
We used to talk
Where,
about this all the time.
Aaron Rodgers will be a Viking by whatever to finish what Brett Favre couldn't back in 2009. And because he stick it to the Packers, like the agenda was all the same.
Yes.
But if you were to ask him, I don't think it's going to happen on the Viking side for all the reasons you said. But Aaron, rank the teams. If you could go another place for one more year, where would you go? The Vikings would be a perfect spot for him in his mind because he's got the weapons.
Right.
He'd have a left tackle coming back. Wouldn't have to worry as much about the offensive line. Kevin O'Connell it's very stable. Kevin O'Connell knows what he's doing. If Flores is still around, you got really stable, good coaching staff, and you could stick it to the Packers.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just doesn't really make sense.
Write this down.
All right, write this down. Walter Rouse will play multiple snaps in a game at center at some point this season or in the playoffs.
Okay.
I think either Bradbury gets hurt, most likely is the way this happens. But I'm going to give Walter Rouse some run at center at some point this season. He's been behind him. He's been, or not. I'm not Walter Rouse. Michael Juergens.
Darn it!
Judd and I were like,
Darn it! I was going to
let's
let you
him
walk
hang.
right
Let's
into
let him
that.
hang here, yeah.
I was going to let you walk right into that, and then I was going to
I
tell
could
you.
tell Judd and I were both
Yeah,
looking at each other like,
No, I
should
knew
we
it.
save
I
him
knew-
here? Or no?
No, that's not the game.
Wrong guy. Michael Juergens will get some run at center. Multiple snaps in a game is how we'll quantify that. So
You know what's going to happen now? Walter Rouse is going to wind up
that's
playing
how it
like
is.
he's going to be starting at left tackle by the time
Yeah.
the season's over.
Yeah,
It's a dirty game. It's a dirty game.
it is.
It can be
It is.
brutal.
Just
Sorry.
watching somebody walk down the plank. Oh, man.
Write this down.
Okay, write this down. Deion Sanders. There's a lot of steam right now. He was asked yesterday about,
Oh yeah.
sitting next to his athletic director too, by the way,
You can ask
saying,
that
"How
with
could
my
you
80
ask?" And he was kind of poking fun, but he goes, "I got my kickstand down here. I love it. I love it at Colorado. Go Buffs!" Well, his star quarterback son is going to get drafted in the top 3, and the best two-way player in college football, Travis Hunter. So even without the family connection, he's losing 2 of the top 5 college football players.
Yep.
And it's transfer portal, So write this down. I don't know where he's going to be. Maybe it's the Cowboys. Maybe it's the Raiders. Maybe it's Florida State. But Deion Sanders will not be the coach of Colorado for the 2025 season.
But his kickstand's down.
Deion, it's pretty easy to put that kickstand back up and take your bike somewhere else.
Kickstands are so old that they became uncool when I was a kid.
Wait, kickstands are uncool?
Kickstands became uncool. You put your bike against the wall, or you just laid your bike down. Kickstands became very uncool.
I use my kickstand very frequently when I had a bicycle.
When I was a kid, we did not tolerate kickstands.
But if I'm being honest, the moment I got my permit and license, I'm dead serious. I've been on a bicycle less than 5 times, and I loathe riding a bicycle. Can't stand it. I think it's uncomfortable. I don't find it fun. They don't follow the rules. Bleep bikes. I don't like bikes at all. Can't stand it.
You know,
I like your passion.
I'm
It's good
kind of
passion.
with Declan on this. I'm not quite to the like venomous bleep bikes stance, but I don't know. It feels like the risk and the reward.
Oh, it's not. Yeah.
You know.
Well, that's like you guys in scooters. Those scooters
Love
scare
scooters.
me. No, I know, but like I don't. If I feel that I should wear a helmet, I'm probably out.
Well, yeah, I think you got to be careful on the scooters. Scooters a little
And
more.
Scooters drunk.
well,
which
don't.
people
That's,
do.
Well, that's
Oh, yeah,
illegal.
that's
Yeah,
illegal.
definitely.
I don't care if it's. I've seen kids do that. I ain't doing that.
Anything
Mopeds
involving
out.
wheels and a motor drunk is definitely not
And
advised.
Mopeds out. These college kids that ride these, they're not. They used to be called mopeds in my day, but they're fatter little bikes now.
Yeah, they're still
That they ride
they're
around.
scooters, yeah.
And they ride them without helmets on, and I'm like, no, I'm out. Give me a car. I got something around me. But I'm with Dex on bikes. I'm
give me a
out on
car.
bikes.
Write this down.
Just give me a car.
I think we're back to Clara here for
Sorry,
her
Clara.
Sorry,
third
Clara.
and final prediction.
Didn't mean to
It's
sidetrack.
okay. Okay, so for my third and final prediction, I think that the Vikings will go 3-1 in their remaining divisional games. I believe that they're going to beat the Bears this week. They're going to beat the Packers again. But I also think that they're going to lose to the Bears because sometimes the Vikings fall victim to playing down to a team, which we see all the time. And then I think that they will beat the Lions the last game of the year or of the season.
Yeah, that Lions game could.
I was gonna say
could be for the division. It also could be that the Lions have the number 1 seed wrapped up, and like Jared Goff doesn't play, and
it's still close though.
Yeah.
yeah. If it stays the way it is right now, though, they have a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Like if they're a game up on the Vikings going into the last week, then it's over, right? The division would be a wrap.
Mm-hmm.
So the Vikings do need the Lions to lose another game to
Anything can happen.
give it a shot. So.
Write this down.
All right, Claire, great work on your predictions here. Since you've got this life-changing platform right now, is there anyone in your life you'd like to thank that helped you get to this peak moment?
I mean, we'll leave Blair Walsh out of it because, who cares?
Yeah, other than Blair Walsh.
other
He's
than
just trying to
obviously,
sell.
yeah.
He's just trying to sell houses now, right? That's all Blair
Yeah.
Walsh.
Is
wants
he?
to do.
Um,
I think he's a real estate guy.
Oh, really? High-end, probably like
I was
high-end
gonna-
luxury real estate.
Yes.
I do want to thank my sweetie Ben, who deals with my passionate and vibrant support, even though he is a Lions fan. I know. And my daughters, who charge me $1 every time I swear at the TV, which happens. And lastly, I want to thank the Minnesota Vikings for making New England winters go by just a little bit faster, despite losing.
Yeah. Well, they're competitive enough usually, and then it's like in January, they generally rip your heart out when there's a foot of snow on the ground.
I was
But,
going to say when a snowstorm comes around and it's like, oh, thanks a lot, Vikings. Appreciate that.
So, Claire, great stuff. Good luck with your predictions, and let's definitely do it again sometime.
Thank you guys so much. This was great.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Claire.
It's always fun, like the random states that people, Vermont, and we get
great
Virginia
story,
has a
though.
huge contingent.
Blair Walsh. Like, that's a great story.
Jeremiah Cyrils has told the story a couple times of in the locker room after that game. So they march down. They're about to beat the Seahawks, Super Bowl contender.
Yep.
And Blair Walsh hooks that field goal, and then they go back to the locker room, and everyone's just like furious. And Mike Zimmer, as a good coach should do, brings the team together and, hey, listen, guys, like it's not on Blair. This is a team loss. It's not on Blair. And one of the feisty Vikings defensive players, and this is a family show, and we do put this on FCC regulated radio airwaves too. So I'm not going to say what he actually said, but he yells over the top of Zimmer, "The bleeping isn't! The bleeping isn't! It's on Blair!" Like he starts, like, it is on Blair.
Oh,
Can you imagine going back in the locker room
Who
No.
was it?
and the coach is like, hey guys, let's go easy on Blair here. It's not on Blair. This is a team loss. Any number of things could have happened.
Does that
dude.
player still live in town here?
Oh yeah, I think
Okay.
so. I mean, I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
I think I might have an idea of who that is.
yeah. Very excitable
Yes.
former
Yes.
defensive player.
Yes.
Yeah,
Poor
had
Blair.
to be held back maybe in that moment.
Oh God.
Write this down.
I'm surprised Zim. I'm actually surprised that Zim did that. Said that.
I am too. Yeah.
Like I would
Well,
think
then
that he would.
apparently
Yeah.
the week, so like a year or two later, because Blair continued on with the team for like another year or two, and he missed some field goals in a game or missed like 3 kicks.
Oh yeah.
And the big team meeting the day or two later, like Monday or whenever it was, and everyone's in the film room and says, "Hey, this is our kicker. This is our guy. Like Mike Zimmer, we stand behind Blair Walsh." And then he missed another key kick the next week. Locker empty. We stand behind Blair. He is our guy. He is our kicker. And
then they were like, "No, he can't be."
Yeah.
And then by Daniel Carlson, the guy misses 3 in his second game ever. And they're like, "Oh, we don't stand behind him either."
Get his ass out of here. Yeah. Before we make our final predictions and get to a quarterback cesspool challenge, so I went to Blackstack yesterday and hung out with the crew there, Cooper, and sipped on a couple beverages. Blackstack, you can find the tap room over. It's the former Spam Can factory. Just an amazing layout. It's actually the first time that I've been inside the Blackstack tap room. And they literally have like couches and lounge chairs and the biggest TV on the wall that you've ever seen for watching sporting events, and some of the best beer you're going to find all over the state of Minnesota, from Grand Marais down to Rochester, from Winona up to Fargo, and inside US Bank Stadium as well. So to find out more about Blackstack Brewing and some of the great beverages that they provide, go to the Where to Buy page at blackstackbrewing.com. Blackstackbrewing.com. Dex, the Fillmore, we had a great time a few months ago. Our 2024 Purple Daily Draft Party. You know, we'd like to headline there every night, but we're a once-a-year attraction. But they have other people headlining at the Fillmore when we're not there.
They do. They have a great list of shows coming up. You can go to scorenorth.com/tickets to find out more. The Fillmore is just steps away from Target Center, Target Field as well. Great little spot in the North Loop. Go to scorenorth.com/tickets. Check out a show. It's a great venue. Go check it out. scorenorth.com/tickets.
And Judd, one more shout out here, Spidex. You got rodents or pests roaming around. What do you do about it?
Yeah, especially if you're like the sports dad and have an old house, and guess what? I had mice, and I had mice for a while, and I'm like, how am I going to get rid of these mice? And then the answer came from above. Spidex Pest Control. Give them a call because they are going to come in only 2 trips to my house. They took care of everything. I have not seen a rodent in my house since. It's absolutely fantastic, and it's all due to how great Spidex does their job. Offer right now $125 off your first service by calling 952-333-8813 or check them out at spidex.com. That's Spidex, SPIDEXX.com. They also serve outside the metro, so give them a check online to see if they serve your area and get rid of those rodents.
Amen.
Write this down.
Okay, Judd, your third and final prediction here.
All right, write this down. Ed Ingram will start another game for the Vikings before the season is over. Ed Ingram will start another game before the season is over.
No faith in Dalton Reisner to hold that thing down?
I think this might be a little situational depending on what you want to do at times.
Okay.
And you can't rotate them clearly because then it's like, hey, we're going to run. Ingram's in. Hey, we're going to pass. Dalton's in.
They should try that. They should literally see how quickly do defenses catch on. Well, this is a run play, and Ingram's out there.
I told you. I would seriously look at heavy packages once in a while now. Go heavy. Just go heavy. Smash mouth.
I mean, it works. It works for the Lions. I don't know how often it probably gets blown up more because when they do it, but they definitely do it a handful of times a game. They'll just put an extra body out there.
And look, in the deep red, I think it's a great idea.
You could put Walter Rouse at center.
Rouse would work.
That was so close. That was so close to being a slam dunk. Like that was like watching a balk and you're about to balk and it's like, don't say a word. Yeah, you balked. And then at the last second, your hands are breaking, your wrists are breaking. I didn't balk.
Back to Dex for his final prediction.
All right, let's do a little primetime parlay. So I'm going to take the Steelers on Thursday Night Football. I'm going to take the Rams to beat the Eagles on Sunday Night Football. And then on Monday, we have the Harbaugh Bowl. We have Ravens and Chargers.
Yes.
But I'm going to take the Ravens. We got a top offense versus a top defense. I'm going to take the Ravens in this one. So I'll take Steelers, Rams, and Ravens all to win in primetime this weekend.
Okay. And maybe you just said this, but is that game being the Harbaugh Bowl? Is that being played in Baltimore or Los Angeles?
L.A.
Okay.
L.A.
Which is not like the greatest
No.
home
No, it
advantage.
is not. No, it is not. But I think Lamar will and the Ravens will have a little bit more success, in my opinion. And Herbert's weird, man. Like Herbert's at one point during that Sunday Night Football game missed like 9 consecutive passes. Like he was really inaccurate. I mean, there was a couple drops. Don't get me wrong, but I trust the Ravens offense, I think, more than the Chargers offense.
Yeah, and the Ravens have, I think, the second highest scoring offense in the entire league this season.
Write it down. You like
against the lowest scoring defense, right? The Chargers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Something's got to give. Khakis, quarter zips, and enthusiastic Harbaughs. Okay, I need to throw the ball down the field here. I feel like there's a few options, but I'm gonna say so. Vikings at Chicago.
Write this down.
The Vikings will hit. So Sam Darnold, as we talked about yesterday, is second in the league in deep pass completions. I'm going to say the Vikings will hit a touchdown pass of 30 or more yards on their first drive.
Whoa.
Okay.
On their first drive.
Oh, yeah, you're back.
He's going to or can I say of 20, can I say 25 or more? That's still a touchdown, right?
Yeah, on the first.
Okay.
You're specific on the first.
I feel like
drive.
you're hedging, but
No.
He's getting a little scared.
I'm hedging a little, but it's
really
still a
wants
touchdown.
Right?
Yeah, but it's specific. You're saying the first drive.
Yeah, I got you.
The first drive, 25 or more.
it's
It'll be a touchdown pass of 25 or more yards.
That's touchdown. You're back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If you get it.
Write this down.
So write it down. All right, those are the predictions here. The only show in America that actually puts statistics next to our predictions. So when you ask us, when are you going to admit that you're wrong? Well, way more often than we probably should. It's time now for a quarterback cesspool challenge.
Everybody hold your water.
Weekly celebration of bad quarterback play in the National Football League here. The goal is pretty simple. The three of us look to identify and project the worst quarterbacks in the NFL each week. So it's kind of like a survivor pool, and that once you use a quarterback, you can't use that quarterback again. So there's some strategy involved in when do you deploy certain bad quarterbacks, or maybe even certain good quarterbacks. So we're 2/3 of the way through the season here, and we'll give you the standings updates. But the scoring is very simple. We draft quarterbacks who we think will have the lowest QBR on a 0 to 100 scale each week. We also have to pick different quarterbacks than each other, so we can't all three pick the same crappy quarterback. Last week's results, week 11.
Terrible.
Oh my God! Look at this.
We
Terrible
all nailed this,
Oh
but I wound up edging you guys
wow!
just barely. Cooper Rush with a 30.5 QBR.
Russell Wilson?
Wow.
Are you serious?
Yeah, so I'll go through this for the audio audience who can't see
sorry.
the graphic here, but Cooper Rush, 30.5. Judd, you had Mac Jones at 31.
I hate
And Dex nailed Kirk Cousins at 34.9. So all of them well below average, with 50 being average.
Oh.
Russell Wilson was the worst quarterback in the league in week 11 with a 14.4 QBR. It's the closest I think we've ever been, all three of us, in the same
crazy.
week. All within basically
This whole
4 points.
entire thing astounds me. Like Russell Wilson, so in a win, I didn't even think to look at his QBR.
Well, they settled for 6 field goals, and I think he threw a bad interception at one point.
God. Okay.
Inaccurate. Yeah, they had a hard time against the Ravens. So with that on the season, I still lead the overall season average with a 40.7 QBR. Judd at 45.2. Declan exactly average, a 50 QBR on the season. For the weekly wins, I have 4, Judd has 4, and Declan has 3. So we will draft in reverse order of last week's results, which means Dex gets to draft number 1, Judd number 2, and I will draft 3rd.
Okay, a lot of good options here that I have on the board.
I thought, dude, at first glance, I thought Kirk had this thing in the bag.
Yeah, me too. I forgot who you guys pick.
No, I knew Mac Jones. I knew Mac Jones was gloriously awful, but then I saw Cooper Rush. I looked at that yesterday, and I'm like, son of a you-know-what.
Yeah.
Cooper Rush got
It's
me
bad,
beat.
man.
Yeah, Cooper.
And then once a game gets into garbage time too, it doesn't really matter as much the numbers he racks up because QBR accounts for like situation in game. So if you're racking up a bunch of yards when you're down by 30 points, they don't weigh as heavily as if it's a close game. So once Cooper Rush fell down by like 3 touchdowns, like, yes,
Yeah,
it's great.
All right, so I have a bunch of options on the board here. I know you guys will probably snipe up one of these too, but I'm going to take another quarterback going against the Broncos defense for a second consecutive week. Give me Gardner Minshew.
Oh.
So Gardner Minshew kind
Yeah.
of laid an egg the last time these. I mean, Gardner Minshew lays eggs all the time. But the Broncos get the Raiders again this week. I'll take Gardner Minshew for this
It's a
week's
great pick.
quarterback cesspool challenge.
I've used him, and I think I got burned by it. I think
Yeah, he had a
actually played really well on
71.3
me.
when you used him.
I hate him.
I had him.
It's personal now.
His family, his parents, everything.
Here's Stu Gotts. I hate him.
I had him back in week 4 for a 40.2 QBR. So yeah, Dex is the only one that's yet to deploy the Gardner Minshew lever here.
So,
Good luck.
so it's interesting too because there are some quarterbacks who I think are ripe to be taken, but they're coming off good games, but they're going against defenses or teams that are going to be, I think, give them a tough game. But it's week 12, right? I don't think I want to get too cute here. I'm going to go. I don't love this team, but anyway, all right. Tommy DeVito against Tampa Bay.
That's the right pick.
I won't get
thought about it
cute.
too, but
There's some interesting. Phil's got an interesting. I've got. Well, he's probably used a couple of these, but like I've got Winston, Caleb against the Vikings, Anthony Richardson against the Lions. I haven't used any of those 3, and I was debating but all had good weeks last week, or okay weeks at the worst.
Yeah. This is where I've already Declan's kind of saved a few of these quarterbacks strategically for later in the year. I've I've already used Minshew. I've used Caleb.
yeah,
I mean, Caleb, well, Dex has not used Caleb yet.
I haven't used Caleb.
I've not.
Yeah,
I don't think.
Oh, neither one of
thought
you
about
is.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, against Brian Flores defense, and you guys are
I might save it.
okay.
Might
Well,
save
he
it.
had an. Here's the
Wow.
thing. I don't necessarily trust him not to come out with a decent game.
Yeah, it's at home. Like I don't know.
The DeVito thing, I feel
I think
pretty
you're
good
overthinking
about.
this a little bit.
Tommy
I mean,
Cutlets.
Tommy DeVito. Listen,
Tommy
Gardner
Cutlets
Minshew against that Broncos defense too. These are all great options.
Yeah, these are good. These are an embarrassment
bad.
of riches.
I just feel like it's a shame that I've already taken Caleb, so I can't take him. But none of us are going to
Well, I
have
was gonna
Caleb
leave
Williams
you.
against Brian Flores defense.
Tommy Cutlets was not going to be left on the table for you. I feel like that would be a big miss.
So.
So
All right, here's the 4 options I have left on my big board. Geno Smith against the Cardinals, Russell Wilson at the Browns,
yeah,
Anthony Richardson against the Lions,
yep.
or Sam Darnold in the Windy City. But Sam got right back on track last week.
Yeah,
We have not used Sam right across the board. I know I have not used Sam Darnold.
No, none of us have used Sam Darnold yet. But he's been rock solid. I feel like at worst, again, he is Sam Darnold, so at any point he could short circuit, but I feel like it's bad karma for me to pick Sam Darnold right now.
Yep.
So I'm going to go, Anthony Richardson he's super talented, and that was a nice bounce back game after sitting on the bench for a month, but can you do it in back-to-back weeks against the best team in the NFL?
Right.
I'm going to take Anthony Richardson against the Lions. I'm going to say he's going to regress a little bit from.
Okay.
No, that's a good pick.
Okay.
I consider that
So-
one strongly.
So Dex with Gardner Minshew, Judd with Tommy Cutlets, Tommy DeVito, and I'll take Anthony Richardson. And we'll see who has the crappiest, most embarrassing performance.
This is getting tight now. I feel like because Dex was, I think Cousins actually gave Dex quite a boost, right?
Gave me a boost with the cumulative score.
Points. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah, the last 2 weeks, Dex has made a little comeback here with Joe Flacco 21.8 and Cousins 34.9, and you got Minshew, Caleb, and some other bad young quarterbacks still in your back pocket here, and I've kind of unloaded. Although you did not get to use Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones was benched before you could use him.
That's true.
And Judd, you didn't use Daniel Jones either, so he's now off the board for you guys.
I thought I did use him once. Okay.
You took
That's
Mac
fine.
Jones.
Big Blue.
Yeah.
I still got Big Blue. Tommy DeVito.
Yeah, and if they wind up putting in Drew Lock, it might be that there's 3 Giants quarterbacks available to be
Declan's
drafted.
guy. Declan will never take a lock because he loves him.
Tomorrow is Thor's Day. We'll talk Vikings defense tomorrow, and we'll get Thor excited about. Man, it's mock draft season. There's already people just looking ahead to April, but we'll do a bunch of Vikings centric defense stuff and the usual Thor's Day shenanigans. And Trenches. I think tomorrow morning we're going to pump out Trenches, a film breakdown with Alex Boone. So be on the lookout for that. Purple Daily, where we just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.